I don't think that all police officers are bullies. I don't think that all men are bullies. I believe there are a lot of good police officers out there. However, I do think that bullies and domestic perpetrators are attracted to the job. In 2009, 5 days before their wedding, PC Martin Forshaw killed PC Claire Howarth. He hit her at least 5 times over the head with a lump hammer, which led to at least 14 separate injuries to her face and neck. He then put her in his car and faked a road traffic accident. He drove round country lanes and deliberately drove into a tree. He tried to make it look like an accident. However, he was found guilty of murder. In 2009, Graham Lamb, a former police officer, killed Josephine Lamb, his wife. They'd been having an argument and he had drunk over half a bottle of rum before getting into his 26-ton lorry. Josephine tried to stop him leaving and was stuck between the lorry and the gates. He drove forward and crushed her beneath his truck. He told ambulance staff, "I thought she would f***ing move out the way, but she didn't." Just days after he was sacked from the police, Toby Day killed his wife, Samantha Day, and their 6-year-old daughter, Genevieve. He also stabbed his 2 older children. One of them managed to raise the alarm from a neighbour. They both survived the attack, but unfortunately Samantha and Genevieve were killed by Toby Day. He then turned the knife on himself. In 2011, Heather Cooper was killed by Peter Foster, a former police officer. He hit her around the head at least 10 times and stabbed her in the throat. Foster was turned in by a family friend when he told them that he needed to dispose of bloodied sheets. Peter Foster was found guilty of murder, but he hanged himself in his cell in 2012. Jenny METHVEN was 80 when she was murdered by William Keane, a former special constable. William then went for coffee with Jenny's son, David, who he later blamed for the murder. I don't understand how people can be so casual and act normal after they've brutally murdered someone. And the fact that William Keane blamed David, I think that actually maybe his police experience told him that he knows that police will look at family members first, and maybe that's why he pushed the blame onto David in the first place. Natalie ESACK was murdered by former police officer Ivan ESACK when he went to her place of work and stabbed her to death. He stabbed her 11 times, and it was revealed that she had reached out for help to police at least 5 times previously about his abuse. I think it's really concerning that she had to contact police 5 times and that essentially this wasn't prevented. I think I'd be interested to know what the police had done about it and what safety precautions and safeguarding actions had been put into place. What he said in interview is that he had gone to get the knife because he wanted to slit his wrists in front of her to make her feel guilty, and this is a massive red flag that we often see with perpetrators of domestic abuse. They often make threats to kill themselves to make their victims feel guilty. Victoria Rose was shot twice and killed by Bill Downing, a retired police officer. What shocks me in this case is he has had an entire career in the police and he has then gone on to kill a woman. PC Adrian Goldsmith killed Jill Goldsmith, his wife. She had over 70 injuries from his violent attack, and I think, as we see with a lot of these cases, there's been a massive explosion of rage, which is massively, massively concerning when you consider that he had been in the police force for many, many years. Emma SISWICK was killed by Jonathan Sutton, a former police officer. He stabbed her 81 times with a knife and with broken glass. Alice FARQUHARSON was choked to death by her husband Keith, a former inspector in Grampian Police. He did try and say that he was just trying to cover her mouth to make her be quiet during an argument. However, severe bruising was found to her face and neck, which proved that he had killed her deliberately.